everybody. Not too long ago, I did a short review on one of these videos of the Kurt Cobain Montage of Heck documentary that came out and aired on HBO not long ago. So I don't want to talk about the movie today, but I did want to talk a little bit about the book that goes along with it, and it's also called Kurt Cobain Montage of Heck, and it's also by Brett Morgen, the guy who directed the film. So anyway, this book, it was kind of expensive. It was $35, and luckily I had some discount coupons, so I got it for quite a bit less. But it is an expensive book, and it's hardback, but it's not very big, so I was kind of a little surprised at how expensive it was. But I do like the book generally. It's filled with, a lot of pictures of Kurt throughout his life, pictures that were used in the documentary, and it has a lot of the artwork from the documentary in it, both Kurt Cobain's own artwork and the animation sequences that were used in the documentary. So it's very visually appealing, and I'll show you they're good sized pictures, and they're good quality. There's some of the artwork and stuff like that. So, here's one of the animation sequences. But, and then along with all those pictures, it has the full interview transcripts from, let's see, it's Chris, who, was in the band, and Courtney, and Kurt's mom and sister, and his former girlfriend Tracy, and then his stepmom. I think that's all of them. And the one thing I was disappointed about the book was I was hoping, since Dave Grohl's interview wasn't included in the documentary at all, that maybe they would include it in the book. And it's not in the book at all. And I know that maybe because it was done so late, because I know that was supposedly why it was left out of the documentary, was because it was too late and they had already finished the film and didn't want to redo it. So that may be why it's not in here. I certainly hope when the DVD is released that they maybe put the interview on that as a special feature. And I know the director, Brett Morgen, says that Dave didn't really have a whole lot to add that others hadn't already said. And that may very well be true. I know he only knew Kurt, for around 4 years, I guess, actually, probably around 4 years. But he was still a big part, of Nirvana, especially after they hit it big, and he was around, the entire time that Kurt was dealing with the drug thing, and so he was there for a lot of what were really important things in Kurt's life and his eventual death. So I do want to hear what Dave had to say, and it's not because I think, he has things to add that nobody else could have. It's just, you have that curiosity when you hear from everybody else, and then there's one interview that you haven't heard. Everybody's naturally curious about what was in that interview, especially when it's, someone who's actually in the band or whatever. So I think a lot of people like me may buy the book and be disappointed that, none of Dave's interview is in it too. So do know ahead of time that it is not in there. So don't buy the book hoping to read that. But overall, like I said, it was a really good book. And as for the interviews, I think my favorites were probably what Chris had to say, because I always believed that Chris really had a deep love for Kurt. He cared about him deeply as a friend and, a bandmate, and they had been through so much together. And I know they fought and they had issues, especially, when Kurt got into drugs, but, I still think Chris really loved Kurt. And I found the interviews from his sister pretty interesting too, because, often a sibling knows you like no one else does. And I found the interview from Tracy Morander, Kurt's one of his first girlfriends, I found that really revealing too. And I think that, she had a lot to add that maybe wouldn't have been said otherwise. As for Courtney Love and Kurt's mom and dad, I, I mean, somewhat. I found some of it interesting, but not as much as the others. And his mom and dad, to me, like they've always seemed to have this, blame each other thing. And ever since the divorce, it seemed like they couldn't stand each other, and they would put the kids in the middle and stuff like that. And it's sad that this many years after Kurt's death, they're still pretty much kind of trying to throw the blame back and forth. And it's like, just get over it. Realize, you both probably made mistakes. Kurt certainly made a lot of mistakes. I mean, I'm not saying his parents were responsible for everything, because I don't believe that. He was an adult and he made his own choices. And what Courtney had to say, some of it was interesting, but I've always had a problem sometimes whether to believe her or not, because even she says that, like Kurt, she tended to, create mythologies, around herself. So that makes me kind of wonder how much to believe what she says. So, so those interviews were kind of so, but I did enjoy the other interviews. So I guess that's pretty much all I have to say about the book. But if you do check it out and you have something to say, feel free to comment and let me know what you thought of the book. And I guess that's it for today. So thanks. Bye.